What's up, guys? Welcome to my Game Week 6 predictions of the Premier League. Last week I got 3 sorry points, just 3, giving me a total of 31 points. Let's begin with Newcastle versus City. So Newcastle last week finally got an L that they deserved against Fulham, scoring 3 on them. Newcastle throughout the other game weeks have been scraping points, playing awful but still getting their results. This was about time that they lost points. And City as well. We haven't been that good. We always slip up somewhere or always let it go in from Ipswich, Brentford, and now Arsenal taking points away from us. I have to say that game, City versus Arsenal, was so disappointing. I don't know how we let Gabriel get that header, Calafiori with that shot that was a cross shot thing. I don't even know what it was. And then we should have taken advantage of the Trossard red card. We just wasted that second half doing a pass from one defender to the other. It was a waste of time. Finally, Stones managed to get a goal in. We got the draw and saved ourselves a point. But for this game, I think it's going to be a close one. It is at Newcastle's home. I think City barely going to get this win. 2-1 for me. Next up is Chelsea versus Brighton, which should be an entertaining game. Chelsea being that wild card team, not knowing what you're going to get from them. Last week they just beat West Ham, and before that they lost or barely beat Bournemouth, and they shouldn't have. And then Brighton tying against Forest, who has been showing that they are a opponent to worry about. They're better than what people thought, but Brighton overall have been playing phenomenal. And this is at Stamford Bridge, so I think Chelsea will step it up here and actually bring a game to Brighton. But I do think the teams are going to split points here, and it's going to be a 2-2 draw. Next up is Brentford versus West Ham. Brentford, I predicted them to win last game week against Spurs. Shouldn't have. I didn't know that Wissa was injured, so I'm probably going to take that into consideration now. And then West Ham have been awful. I had to say awful. Getting scored on 3 times against Chelsea. Like, what are you doing? West Ham have been getting scored on by every team they faced. They don't have a real goal getter. It used to be Bowen, but Bowen hasn't really done anything. Their striker, Antonio, is never going to get them anything. Fulkrug doesn't seem like he's ever going to start. I don't know what Lopetegui's thinking, but he needs to change something. In saying all that, I still think they're going to get a draw here. Brentford without their duo is not threatening. So I do think it's going to end in a draw here, 1-1 at Brentford's home. Next up is Everton versus Crystal Palace. 2 teams that drew last week. Everton going against Leicester, getting a goal there by Ilman Ndiaye, who looked pretty good. He was moving Leicester around, playmaking. He was putting his heart in. So finally they have someone to rely on, I guess. And then Crystal weren't good until United subbed off most of their possession style players like Xerxes, and then that's when they could do something. But other than that, they weren't doing anything. They weren't moving anyone. Glasner needs to fix something in that team. I don't know what happened, if Olise really changed that much, but he needs to change something. So this match right now to me is just a battle to escape relegation, really. And I don't think either of them will get all 3 points. It's going to be another draw here, 1-1 for me. Next up is Arsenal versus Leicester City. Arsenal putting up a great game against City, getting those 2 goals, and then parking the bus because they had to with that Trossard red card. And then Leicester getting that draw against Everton. Not looking incredible. They're doing better than what people thought they were going to do. But that's not going to be enough to beat Arsenal at home. I think it's going to be 3-0. Forest versus Fulham next. Forest getting that draw against Brighton, very impressive. And then Fulham beating Newcastle, which was also impressive. For my prediction before, I would have said Forest to win. but that red card to Gibbs White and then Nuno as well, who's not going to be on the sideline. But mainly Gibbs White, it's going to be a big hit. They don't really have a backup creative player in the team, so I think Fulham is going to win here away 2-1. It's still going to be close, but they'll get the win. Next up is Wolves versus Liverpool. Wolves were actually not that bad against Villa until Villa came around and scored their first goal, and then they scored 2 later on. But other than that, Wolves were pretty good. And then Liverpool just dominated Bournemouth. Luis Diaz had a field day against that right back Araujo, who, to be honest, doesn't look good. Doesn't look like he's up for the Prem. I've seen a couple of his games, and he's not looking good. Luis Diaz had a great game. Darwin Núñez also had a great goal. I feel like this is going to be another game where they can get 3 goals, but Wolves will still get 1 on them, making it a 3-1 win to Liverpool. Next up is Ipswich versus Villa. Ipswich, very disappointed in them. I thought they should have beaten Southampton. It actually took them into the last minutes to actually get a goal from Morsi, that volley from outside the box, which they really had to get in their bag to get a draw against Southampton. Not good. And then Villa struggled against Wolves, but ultimately coming back and winning. I feel like Ipswich will get a goal, but Villa will ultimately win. I think it's going to be a 2-1 win to Villa. Next up is the biggest game of the game week, United versus Spurs, a mid-table battle at the moment. United struggling against Crystal, not able to get that goal, even after the subs, trying to get that like a long ball and then get someone to run through the lines. Didn't work. And then Spurs had a great game against Brentford. Maddison had a great game, passing, interception, the goal he got. He had a great game. And then Solanke and Brendan Johnson finally getting some goals, showing their worth. This game is at Old Trafford. Maybe a little advantage there for United, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Spurs are going to win here 2-1, and then there's going to be some questions asked about Erik ten Hag. Then there's the last game of the game week, Bournemouth versus Southampton. Bournemouth, as we said, lost against Liverpool, didn't look too good, and then Southampton drew against Ipswich. But I still think Ariel is going to turn it around here for this game. It is at home, at their home, and Southampton is not a good team, so I think it's going to be easy for them. I think it's going to be a 2-0 win for Bournemouth. And that was all my predictions for this game week. Let me know what you guys think of my predictions in the comments, and like and subscribe. Thank you.